Hello there, today I bring you something very exciting in the form of an original tag. This is the books and tea tag. Basically, I was going through and thinking about books and tea and how I enjoy both, and I wanted to marry the two together. And then I've done it in sort of the style of, I don't know if you remember the Great British Bake Off tag a few months ago, where people would pick ingredients for the cake and pick a book that they thought represented those ingredients. I've done that, but with tea types, so let's get going. First, we've got the staple breakfast tea that everybody knows when they refer to tea. This is sort of the most popular. Everybody is at least aware of it. If you just ask for tea, this is generally what people go for. And I have picked Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte because this was the book on my shelf that I could really see that at least everybody would at least know the premise of. I think most people have read this book, even non-readers are aware of it. It's a real classic and it is a staple, I would say. For me, I was tempted to go for other books, for me personally, because I wouldn't necessarily say this is a staple for me, but I'm going for the world in general because I don't personally drink breakfast tea, but it is the standard, so I've gone for this one. I did read this. I read half of it when I was 16, put it down and was never inclined to pick it up, even though I was enjoying it, and picked it up when I was 19. I remembered enough that I didn't want to start again, so I just went from where I was, and I think it completely ruined the experience because the second half I didn't enjoy at all. So I bought this pretty edition and I intend to reread it very soon. Secondly, I've got Earl Grey. This is a sophisticated classic tea with a twist. I've struggled to find anything on my shelves that fitted Earl Grey. The closest I could come was Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, or just anything by Jane Austen. She's a classic British author, and I think she's got that sophistication, and she's, you know, as I say, a classic, a familiar, a staple again, but she's got a twist. She's got something feisty about her. That's why I've picked Jane Austen. Then chai tea. Now this is an exotic tea. It's kind of the staple breakfast tea flavour that we know, but it's also got this exotic twist, this foreignness to it. So I have picked The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy, and I probably pronounced that completely wrong. I haven't read this, but it's won the Man Booker Prize when it came out, and I'm really excited to pick it up. And I picked this purely because this was shamefully the only book on my shelf that is set in India, and that is where chai tea comes from, so that's why I've picked this one. From what I know, this is about an Indian family, and they're sort of unravelling after an event or something. I think it's quite a harrowing read, but I'm really looking forward to picking it up. Then I've got Peppermint Tea. Now this is something invigorating, refreshing, a bit different and exciting, and for this I have picked The Luminaries by Eleanor Catton because this is the last book I can remember that really invigorated me, excited me. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was like being involved in a soap opera. It was so much fun. I would definitely recommend this. I think it gets a lot of slack for being slow and literary, and it's not that at all. It is literally like a soap opera in a book. It's so good. It's so good. Then I've got green tea for this. It's something a bit different, something refreshing. So I have picked Jeanette Winterson's Gut Symmetries because this is the last book I read that was really experimental and different and exciting and refreshing because it was so different. And this is about a strange kind of love triangle where a woman is having an affair with a husband and then meets his wife and ends up having an affair with her too. It's sort of about the interrelationships between people and the complexity of those, and also there is some space and things in there as well. It's fantastic. The writing is amazing. I aspire to this book. Then I've got Assam tea. Now this is black tea, but it's strong and it's rich and deep. And for this I have gone for The Crimson Petal and the White by Michelle Faber. I was trying not to pick books that I've read recently because I talk about them a lot at the moment, but I had to pick this one because it is so rich and so intricate, and if it was a flavour it would be so full of things, and just this is absolutely Assam tea for me. This I have done a review of, which I would link down below, but it's about a prostitute called Sugar predominantly, and just kind of the London life in Victorian London and sort of the struggles, I suppose, that women went through with men predominantly for me. It's a hard one to describe briefly, but if you want to know more, check out my review down below. It's an amazing, amazing read. Then I've got Chamomile Tea. This is something cosy, comforting, ready for bed kind of, and for this I have chosen His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman, predominantly Northern Lights. I have yet to read the others, though I'm desperate to get to them. I really enjoyed Northern Lights. This is a really, I suppose I read it on Christmas Eve, so it's really like a blanket for me. It was like a cosy, fun, exciting little read to do, and it's really magical, and I would definitely recommend it, and it is absolutely just like a blanket of a book, so do read. Then lastly in the tea stakes we've got rose tea. Now this is something gentle, calming, but also with that flowery oomph, I suppose, behind it. And for this I have chosen The Grace Keepers by Kirsty Logan, which is a really gentle, calming and graceful read, and yet underneath it's got that little tingle of just discomfort, and it's so beautifully and flowerily written, if that's a word. It's really poetic and it's beautiful language, so this is absolutely rose tea for me. Couldn't be any other book. Then we go on to the milk and sugar. So milk, something to take the edge off, something to cream it up a bit. For this, again, I struggled a bit because I don't have milk. That's probably the problem. But I've chosen The Never-Ending Story by Michael Ende because I think that the storyline in this really does kind of take the edge off the world. So if we're talking about the world as a big cup of tea, I would swirl this in to make it nice and milky and a little bit less bitter. So that's what I've gone for. I'm sure everyone knows the story of this. It's about a little boy who finds a book and ends up reading it and discovering that people in the book seem to be trying to contact him or talk to him, and things go from there. It's a really lovely read, and I love this edition. Look at this. It's amazing. This is by Penguin, I think, yeah. So pretty. And then finally, we've got sugar. This is something to sweeten the tea, or the tea of life, as we are talking about now, and I've gone for the BFG by Roald Dahl, or just anything by Roald Dahl. I'm going to put this down because the blue is making me go orange, but I'm really enjoying Roald Dahl at the moment. I've read 2 Roald Dahls recently, this one and The Witches, and I'm just finding him good fun. Like, it's shocking how his books are for kids, because I think nowadays he would never get past publishers with the things he talks about in his books, but they're so much fun and they're so harmless, and the BFG especially was just a really good, fun read. For me, I read it during the Dewey's 24-hour readathon, so I read it literally in one sitting, and I think that's the best way to do it because I enjoyed it so much. The experience was so immersive, and it was a really good start to my readathon. Again, everyone probably knows the story of this, so I won't go into it too much, but it's about a little girl called Sophie who ends up getting snatched by a giant who turns out to be a big friendly giant, but there are other giants in this giant land that are not so friendly, and Sophie and the BFG go on a journey to stop these evil giants. So that is the books and tea tag. I just wanted to have a bit of fun, really. I've never done an original tag before, so it was quite fun coming up with all the ideas. I struggled with finding some books. I find it really difficult. Anyway, so on to the tagging of people. I tag Lauren at Lauren and the Books, Katie at Books and Things, Crystal at Crystal Lynn, Kathy at Another Great Etc, and Leanne at Leanne Rose. And I will look forward to seeing all of your videos. Feel free to do this even if I haven't tagged you. Just link me down below so I can check your videos out, and I'll see you all later. Bye!